folks see and hear that recovery is possible, it's happening, you can be of it, you contribute to it, and to bring people along very young in their recovery is one of our real responsibilities, I believe. But we've had the hardest time with the longer sustained recovery community.
Why do you think that is?
I think it's because people are just living their lives.
They get sober, then they move on.
I think so. And they don't see an opportunity or a vehicle to be able to give expression. And I think that the other part of what, if you will, the advocacy, what is advocacy? I mean, it's knowing that you believe in something, you stand for something, you want to influence an outcome, whether it's through legislation or public policy. But it's also about, let me give you an example, it's a sideways step. But I met with a group of people, about 15 people in Rochester recently, about 2 months ago. Now, there were people sitting at this table in a recovery center who had anywhere from 1 year, maybe 8 months of recovery, up to like 25 years.
Wow.
So here's this example, this group, if I was doing test, sampling, you couldn't have asked for a better
Nice little cross section.
cross-section. Male, female, Asian American, African American, Caucasian. I mean, it was everything, which speaks also to that addiction doesn't care, right? It doesn't care what you look like. And what everyone shared in common, besides being in recovery, which of course in itself is a huge deal, but they had never really found a way to say, I can advocate not only on behalf of myself, which we would call maybe being self-assertive or confident, right?
Sure.
But with and about others. They just, it's not that they didn't think about it, but they don't know how to do it. So that's one of our responsibilities, I believe, to educate. What is advocacy? What does it mean to tell your story without all of the gore? Knowing something about somebody's history is very important because that's where the relatability occurs. But if that's all we're talking about, we're stuck again, right? And so there's educating about how to tell your story. What is advocacy? How do you advocate? How do you come together? There's more power in a group than there is as an individual.
Sure.
So that I get if there's a theme that's really been what we've been doing for almost I can't believe it, but almost 5 years now.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about what distinguishes Friends of Recovery New York, the people you serve, and some of the typical traditional, for example, 12-step programs, Al-Anon, AA, NA, GA, in how Friends of Recovery New York, I just see as a group that welcomes everyone.
Yes. First and foremost, it's very important to say that we are not a methodology to achieve recovery, unlike the other pathways you've just named.
Sure.
So knowing that, we can say to anyone, however you've achieved your status as a person in recovery, it could be through a church group, it could be through, and still with medication-assisted recovery, okay? Because, I mean, we all know that there's been some real, I'll say very strong prejudice that somehow, you're disqualified.
Sure, you're on Suboxone, you're on methadone.
And what we know is that, I mean, if we cannot walk around and say that we have a disease and then refute medical intervention. I mean, it's absolutely insane, talking about insanity. So Friends of Recovery New York is absolutely clear. All pathways to recovery with recovery is welcome. One of the other things I think that, if you will, differentiates us from those more traditional pathways is that we do not in any way endorse that there is only one way. It's another way of saying the same thing, if you will.
This is how I got sober, so this is how you have to get sober.
Exactly.
Right.
So it's broader, it's more inclusive, maybe more universal in some way. And when one of the things that we've been also doing is standing up a Recovery Coach Academy, where we're training people how to be recovery coaches, and that's probably a whole other show. But to at least say that this venture is occurring, and that it's person-centered, and the individual who's seeking recovery said, "This is what I want to achieve." The coach walks with them and helps them identify what are those goals and what are some action steps. But there's no right or wrong in that process. The only right or wrong is, are you living your life a little bit better today? Do you feel better about yourself today? And connecting with those community resources, which is another way, pathway back into that community that we've been trying to reach.
Tell me about some of the involvements that Friends of Recovery New York has. I've had the pleasure of attending one of the legislative advocacy days, as well as the recovery rallies. It's also my understanding that you have an upcoming retreat. And then maybe, how can somebody get involved and support an organization that to me is unparalleled to any other organization that I've seen in the recovery community? How can someone support you folks that are supporting so many? Obviously, you saw something, Sam saw something. How can somebody get involved with Friends of Recovery New York? And what would that involvement include? Because you talk about the advocacy, you talk about all of the people coming together in a recovery rally.
Okay, I'm going to take a couple of the upcoming things, and
Sure.
then I want to toss the ball to you about how people can get involved.
Absolutely.
Because that's your strength.
That's right.
We have on September 28th, 2012, in other words, like 3 weeks from now,
Yeah.
the 5th annual statewide New York celebrates recovery. It's a part of the national recognition of recovery that's actually been celebrated now for 20 years. It's quite remarkable. We've moved it here to Albany so that people from outer parts of the state, like me, who has to travel 5 hours to get here, can participate.
Yeah, well, at least now I don't have to drive 3 hours to New York City.
That's right.
I can drive down to the Corning Preserve.
There you go. And it's at Corning Preserve, the 23rd, Sunday the 23rd, 11 to 3. We really have a great event happening this year. And if we have time, I'd love to spend a little time about who's actually going to be there and what we're going to be doing.
Absolutely.
The other thing that you just kind of slipped in that I do want to raise up, before the end of the year, we will be convening trainers of recovery coaches for a first ever New York State trainer coach retreat to share ideas, strengthen that network, really bring people up to speed on some things that are happening kind of behind the scenes. We really are seeking to be that network and hub. And think about the spokes again. I talk with my hands. We really want to be the center of that
That's
wheel.
Right. The core. That's it.
So how can people help and join in?
Well, it's pretty similar to anything. We want to make sure that folks can get connected through the various manners. At this particular point, there are individuals who are not necessarily being connected or being exposed to what it is that Friends of Recovery is trying to expand and bring to not just this particular area, but to the recovery community statewide. As Laura just stated, we are actually, at every corner of the state, and what we are trying to do is make it so that individuals can go online, or they can call. There's a number of different ways, or any kind of recovery event that's going on. 9 times out of 10, Friends of Recovery is going to be present in some form or fashion. We are actually doing some different things, as she just stated. We have the recovery convention, the recovery rally celebration for September that will be taking place, again, September 23rd. It's going to be a fantastic opportunity for individuals to come together, celebrate recovery, but better than that, it's going to give you an opportunity to network and get connected to individuals who have other pathways, other opportunities, other availabilities that some people may not have awareness of.
Good music, good food.
Good music, good food. It's going to have a good time. We're having opportunities for kids to play.
So it's a family fun event
Yes.
as well.
Right.
Absolutely. It's a family fun event. This is a great opportunity for individuals to find out what it is Friends of Recovery does, who we're connected to. As we stated, this is an opportunity for individuals to identify a purpose. A lot of folks in recovery don't necessarily identify with a purpose. And they get clean, and that's how we wander off into these other different areas of, these mundane lifestyles where recovery is, seldom talked about.
We do have a piece on our website for recovery coaches to talk to each other.
Okay.
We have events listing, so if it's a recovery focused event that people would even just like to post. I mean, it has to be kind of cleared, but there would be another way that we can assist emerging groups. There are recovery events all over the state going on. The other thing with we really need, or I think we need to say that we have very strong partners about the statewide recovery rally with NCADD and ASAP and OASIS. We're the lead on it. There's no question about that. But without our strong partners and their commitment, it would be a little bit harder. And people can donate online if they come to our webpage, www.for-ny.org. Donate now. It's PayPal, so it's
all secured.
All totally secure. And we do have a Facebook page.
We got about a minute left. In that minute, Laura and Sam, if there's somebody out there that's still sick and suffering, or somebody that's affected by addiction in any manner, what would you say to those people that could be watching?
Well, right off the top, I would say get help. You're not alone. Find somebody that you can talk to in the recovery realm. Go to a meeting. I would like to say connect with somebody in Friends of Recovery, but we are all Friends of Recovery. We want to let you know that you're never alone, and a meeting is how I found out. I got connected with people who were doing what I was trying to do.
And Laura?
I would say calling our phone number, which I don't know that we've got up there, but it's 518-487-4395. We could try to connect people with coaches. There is on the webpage. I've had several people reach out to say, I'm looking for a coach in some small town in upstate, and I've been able to network behind the scenes,
Connect people.
and connect people to a coach.
Which is, again, it sounds to me like the whole mission. Again, I want to thank Laura and Sam for all you do on a daily basis to connect people in recovery.
Thank you very much, Gene.
Thank you.